All right, friends, we are going to do a reaction video to this kid playing Red House by Jimi Hendrix. She's going to do a cover of it. Red House, I love that song by Jimi Hendrix. I'm not your traditional Jimi Hendrix fan, to be honest, guys. Again, I'm always trying to keep things completely honest on my channel here. When I was really coming up in guitar in the late 80s and the 90s, all due respect to Jimi Hendrix, I used to get frustrated. I used to save up $5 every month. I'd save up $5 to get my edition of Guitar World, my edition of Guitar for the Practicing Musician, and my edition of Guitar School or Guitar Player. And a lot of space in every magazine was always devoted to Jimi Hendrix, which was great, but it used to frustrate me because the guitar players I was really into at the time, I always felt, oh, you could put more into that. But I mean, he's a legend. He's amazing. But my songs that I tend to like by him, it's not the traditional, Purple Haze. I like Hey Joe. I really like Red House. There's a few other songs I like, but a lot of the songs that I love from him are not a lot of the more traditional popular ones from Jimi Hendrix. But I love Red House, and we're doing a video on this young kid. I think she's around 9 or 10 years old. Her name is Krizten Centino. This video is about 5 years old, so she'd be well into her teens now. I've got a lot to talk about as a guitar teacher who's taught a lot of kids and teenagers how to play guitar. So if she's any good, I'm going to have a lot to, feedback to give. And if it's not so good, well, hey, we tried, right? So let's see her version of this. All right. The horns. She's got the horns. So again, guys, she's a kid. I'm not going to get into, pointing out her pitch issues or with bends or vibrato. She's rocking the pentatonic there, root position, pretty cool. I'm digging it so far. She's got a little bit of the Hendrix vibe happening there. Whenever I see a cover, someone do a cover and it's too polished, it always makes you a little bit suspicious. This is raw, there's some stuff going on here, but I love it. I like the vibe she's giving off here. I just think I learned a new pentatonic lick there. Rocking the open E string on that, pretty cool. There's that pentatonic lick again. Pretty cool. So guys, I'm going to talk to you guys as a guitar teacher. So when I started teaching full time, I'm going to say it was around 2000, 2001. For a number of years, I really was pumping out good students, who became good guitar players. In 2006, something really interesting happened. And when I see a kid who's really, doing well on the guitar, in this day and age, I always think back to this. 2006, students weren't quite practicing as much as they normally were, and they weren't quite making the progress. And I think, well, my methods are pretty, although my methods of teaching have evolved over the years, they're pretty well proven. And again, one of the reasons I started this YouTube channel initially is as to be like a lesson channel, and because I find the internet, it makes playing guitar way more complicated than it needs to be. I don't blame beginners for looking at videos and stuff going, man, this is really confusing. But, I've made some excellent, if I may say so, lesson videos that have like 3 views. And it's not what people want to see from me, and that's cool. We're evolving. But anyway, back in 2006, I remember going, wow, you know, like it's just, it had changed. And I remembered really doing some introspective going, well, what's different, you know? And I came to the conclusion that 2006 was an interesting year because it seemed to be the time when it wasn't just the adults or maybe a few teenagers walking around with a cell phone. Everybody started having a cell phone, including kids. Also, the advent of social media. YouTube had been out for a year or 2 at the most. And Facebook was out. It was still in its infancy, but it was just starting to get a little bit of momentum. It might have been pre-Twitter. It might have been the pre-twitting days. But also the Xbox had come out. Halo was very popular at the time. And, you know, I just started to realize, you know, for a lot of people, especially when you're a good guitar teacher and you want people to do well and you give them their homework, but they're sitting there with a music stand with some notes, scales, maybe some tablature with some exercises and a metronome, or on one side of the room with a guitar, or they have an Xbox 360 with Grand Theft Auto 4, Grand Theft Auto 5, or, you know, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2 or whatever. You know, a lot of kids are going to go over to the video game side. There's a lot more distractions now for people that eat up their time, even social media. I tell people, like, you know, you guys kind of know that I'm a very, although I love YouTube, this is how I like to communicate to the world. I've become a very withdrawn recluse socially. The less interaction I have to do with actual people in real life, the easier life seems to be, right? The less BS you have to put up with or deal with. But I love YouTube. I love doing this, and I like meeting people this way. But when I tell my students, when you're practicing, put your phone away, because we're so conditioned to respond as soon as we get a notification, right? It's going to override the practicing on the guitar. One of the big tips I say is turn your guitar off. Turn your phone off, put it away, so you're not distracted when you practice, and try and practice the same time every day. And you let your friends and family know. You say, hey man, this is my practice time. Leave me alone for half an hour, 15 minutes, whatever it is. But the world's changed, you know, in the past 15 years or so with social media. So there's more distractions for kids now. You know, we would get our information back in the day from guitar magazines, maybe some TV shows like on Much Music or MTV or whatever, but there's more information out there. A lot of good, but there's even more bad out there for people to draw from. But more on that in a second. Let's check this out. I'm really into this. Open E again, awesome. So, you know, another thing when we talk about the generations, like with the kids now, if you took up guitar in the 70s, you only had so many influences to draw from, right? In the 70s, you know, Beatles, Yardbirds, Jeff Beck, Led Zeppelin, Hendrix. But then the people taking up guitar in the 80s, you know, they had all that to draw from, but then they had more, you know, like they had Randy Rhoads and George Lynch and Eddie Van Halen and all these, Yngwie Malmsteen, all these other added influences. So every generation that comes out, they're going to have more and more influences to draw from. So the kids that do have some discipline and stick with it, hopefully they're not, you know, it's good for parents because of the video game generations with video game addiction. It's good to see parents getting kids into music, like probably maybe that's what's going on here. But I've also seen as a teacher where the parents push too hard and then the kids turn around and they end up hating the instrument. And I don't like that. But we, as the generations go on, we're going to see more and more wickedly amazing guitar players coming out because of what I just told you guys about.
Nice.
Good on you, kid. I enjoyed that. Again, it wasn't too polished like some covers are. And, yeah, if I was a guitar teacher, I'd say, hey, we're going to work on your vibrato and some of your bending, and let's get a wah pedal in there for some of those cool pentatonic licks, right? Because we know that the wah pedal and the pentatonic and blues licks, sometimes they go together like peanut butter and jelly. But who cares? The kid's 10 years old. She could sure play circles around me when I was 10. So this is about 5, 6 years old almost. It'd be interesting to see where she's at. Maybe we'll do a follow-up to it. And I'm sure she's an even better player now if she's still playing. And good on you, Krizten. So that was her version of Red House by Jimi Hendrix. Always amazes me to see young kids doing well on guitar with, as I said, all the distractions out there now in the world on social media, video games, all that stuff. So good job, Krizten. I enjoyed it. It'll be very interesting to see where her playing is now, currently. Maybe we'll do a follow-up. Remember, folks, practice hard, practice smart. We'll see you soon.